Okay, so the Eagles are 8-1 after getting their toughest win of the season in a thriller versus the Cowboys, where they faced a lot of adversity. QB1 Jalen Hurts fought through a seemingly worsening knee injury to have a great performance and lead the Birds to a win, and A.J. Brown and other Eagles reacted to Hurts playing through the pain, and it sounds like this team would run through a brick wall for him. Plus, the Eagles had a lot more injury scares in the game versus Dallas, and one of their stars actually did suffer a serious injury, but that didn't stop the Eagles from gutting out the win, with the defense coming up clutch, and specifically Josh Sweat may have made the play of the game and of his career, but still, the Birds are not satisfied despite making history with the win. So what's their mentality heading into the bye before taking on Kansas City? Well, let's discuss all that and everything else from Week 9, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So the Eagles entered this game versus Dallas with a ton of outside hype, with of course this being probably the best rivalry in the NFL, and both teams being very good playoff caliber teams who have high hopes this season, not to mention the fact that an Eagles win here would have put them up 2.5 games in the NFC East going into their bye week. So the Eagles obviously wanted to make the most of this opportunity by coming out in front of their home crowd and getting a statement win. And things started off well for the Birds as the defense forced a quick 3-and-out on Dak and the Cowboys offense, with Reed Blankenship blanketing CeeDee Lamb on a 3rd and 6. And from there, the Eagles offense went to work, starting off slow with a couple quick gains and coming up on a 4th and 1 from their own 32, but Nick Sirianni showed he has no fear, running the unstoppable brotherly shove and picking up the first down, which turned out to be a very smart decision as the offense started rolling, with Jalen Hurts completing passes to Olamide Zaccheaus, as well as a few to A.J. Brown, and then converting a 4th and 3 to Dallas Goedert on a beautiful throw to put the Birds in the red zone, where they then handed it off to the heavily criticized Kenneth Gainwell, and he flew around the edge to then leap over a defender for the opening drive TD to give the Birds the early lead. Now, I gotta give credit where credit is due. I mean, I was really critical of Gainwell throughout this entire week and really all season, but in this game, he had a nice bounce back performance after the goal line fumble last week and the struggles he's had throughout the year. As it wasn't just this touchdown, he had some other really nice plays during the game as well, so huge shout out to Kenny G for responding in a big way, and drop a like down below for that. Now, after the Gainwell touchdown, Dallas got the ball back in good field position after a fantastic 47-yard return by Turpin, and from there, the Cowboys started moving until they came up on a 3rd and 1 from the Eagles 33, and Reddick came through on this play, getting a nice pressure and hit on Prescott, forcing an inaccurate throw for the incompletion to bring up 4th and 1. Unfortunately, the Eagles secondary didn't hold up on this play, as CeeDee Lamb broke free for 29 yards, setting up a 1st and goal at the 4, in which Dak Prescott then hit tight end Jake Ferguson for the score to tie the game up. And that then gave Dallas the momentum as the Eagles offense stalled out on the next drive, with Micah Parsons and Dorrance Armstrong combining for a sack, ultimately forcing a 3-and-out and giving the ball right back to Dak, where he then made a great play on an early 3rd and 2 in the drive, in which he navigated through traffic to find an open Jake Ferguson who had beat Kevin Byard, and he then caught it and had a very nice run for an overall gain of 40 yards.
And what is going on?
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of us have been feeling about the secondary these past couple weeks. Luckily, the Eagles pass rush responded with Reddick getting to Dak once again, this time for a sack of 11 yards. Unfortunately, Dallas was able to recover, getting to a 3rd and 14, and then converting by way of a CeeDee Lamb 20-yard grab after he beat Eli Ricks, and Prescott found him on the scramble. Nakobe Dean then set the Cowboys up in 1st and goal after a pass interference penalty, and Dallas ended up converting in the red zone once again with a Dak touchdown pass to Turpin, who shook Sidney Brown. This gave Dallas a 14-7 lead, and at this point, the Cowboys had all the momentum. The Eagles secondary wasn't looking good, and they desperately needed to respond. So Jalen Hurts took the field with the offense in very good position because of the Cowboys kicking the ball out of bounds, but they were quickly forced into a 3rd and 9, which thankfully they were able to overcome by means of a Jalen Hurts laser over the middle to DeVonta Smith for 19 yards. They then got a huge gain of 20 yards to DeAndre Swift on a sweep, where Kenny once again made an impact with a huge block, and Gainwell then just a few plays later was able to power through contact for a 3rd and 3 conversion to set up 1st and goal. So again, huge credit to Kenny Gainwell for having a bounce back game. Hurts then handed the ball off to Swift, and the Eagles were able to dodge a bullet because Swift fumbled after some confusion on the handoff, but he was able to luckily get it back. And then just a couple plays later, after a Dallas penalty, the Eagles went back to all reliable, the brotherly shove for the touchdown, which not only tied the game up, but also it marked Jalen Hurts' 33rd rushing touchdown of his career, already making that the most by any quarterback in Eagles history, so it's really only fitting that Hurts makes history on the play that has allowed him to get into the end zone so many times in the first place. And a big reason for the success of this play is no doubt Jason Kelce, who not only was celebrating his birthday on the day of this game, but he also got fired up after this touchdown, getting in the face of Cowboys defender Damone Clark and screaming. And this little altercation stemmed back a couple plays to where Clark had pushed and kneed Jason Kelce in the head after the play was over. So I definitely get why Jason was pissed here, and I love seeing him go back at Clark like that. I mean, that was definitely a dirty play by Clark, so thumbs up for Kelce getting the last laugh. And now the momentum was right back in the Eagles' favor, and the defense wanted to keep it going, getting a sack on second down after a few plays by Dallas, this one being split by Fletcher Cox and the linebacker Nakobe Dean. And it put the Cowboys in a difficult 3rd and 15 scenario, but unfortunately, they were able to get 14 right back with a nice throw to Lamb, and then they went for it on a 4th and 1 and converted by way of another big gain to Jake Ferguson for 11 yards, who beat Kevin Byard yet again. And Byard really didn't have a great day overall, and yes, I do get that this was only his 2nd game with the Birds, and I'm not saying that he's not a good player, I'm not saying he was horrible in this game, and I'm not saying he won't turn things around, but you definitely can't say it hasn't been a couple disappointing performances now from Byard to start his Eagles career. The Cowboys were then able to pick up 7 more yards to set up a 51-yard field goal attempt from Brandon Aubrey, which he nailed, putting Dallas up 17-14 with just over a minute to go in the half. But the bright side is that the Eagles now had a chance to go down and get points before half, before then receiving the second half kickoff. But what happened next had the entire city of Philadelphia collectively holding their breath. And don't worry, we're going to get to that and a lot more in just a minute here, but real quick, I have to say, if you're finding this video informative or you're enjoying it at all, just make sure you go down, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Around 80% of the people that do watch these videos are not subscribed. If you're one of those people, and again, you're enjoying this video, or you're finding it useful in any way, make sure you fix that right now, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss when any videos just like this are uploaded. I think that's a win-win for the both of us. Now with that being said, let's get back into the video. Now in their final drive before the half, the Eagles offense really didn't make too much progress early, and a second down sack by Micah Parsons really ended any chance for the Birds to get any sort of points here, especially since Jalen Hurts was hit low by DeMarcus Lawrence on his injured knee, and he went down and it looked like he may not get back up.
Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
Kinda hard to stay calm when the entire fate of the Eagles season rests on the health of Jalen Hurts. Luckily, Jalen is as tough as they come, as he didn't miss any time, and he actually came right out in the second half and led the Eagles on an amazing drive. And the drive actually started with a Rashad Penny sighting, as the running back got 2 straight carries that went for a combined 8 yards before Hurts then scrambled for a first down, and he then capped off this drive, which lasted a total of 6 plays, with an absolutely incredible, beautiful pass to DeVonta Smith for a 29-yard score that was placed in the exact perfect spot. I mean, what a throw and what a catch by 2 outstanding players, and for Jalen, this is probably one of the best throws he's made in his entire life. Overall, again, just what an amazing play, and now at this point, the Eagles had the lead once again. Now I gotta say, for Jalen Hurts to come out on the first drive of the second half after clearly re-injuring his knee and just go straight down the field and lead the offense to a touchdown, let alone on that incredible pass, is super impressive, and I think it just goes to show you how tough Jalen really is. It shows you the kind of mentality he has, and his teammates know that about him, and they also really appreciate it, as a few guys in A.J. Brown, Lane Johnson, and Jordan Mailata were all asked about Jalen Hurts going down and then battling through the pain, and this is how they all reacted.
Oh man, he's real tough, man. I think to be honest, I probably just scared him, to be honest. But he's real tough, you know. For him to come back out there and run around, you know, I really don't worry about him, you know, because I know who he is and I know what he's been through, and you know, so.
You know, I didn't really see the hit before half, but, you know, it happened, you know, right before halftime, 2-minute drive. And then, you know, after I seen him walking around the locker room for a little bit, you know, I was confident he was going to play. But, yeah, it was definitely high on the alert list at halftime. He's just a resilient guy. He's very calm, very poised. And when you have somebody like that, it makes the offense not ride the emotions of the game. You need that. And, you know, he's a tough guy. You know, he's been battling the past 2 weeks.
I had no idea how he was feeling. Came in at halftime, and the guy was walking around perfect with an IV bag and just saying, let's go, we're going to get rolling.
What's that do for the offense when he's like, yeah, I'm good to go?
High morale. I mean, it boosted our morale. And we came out there the second half and went down the field. So I think it's pretty evident how much he means to his team. You know, we pride ourselves on protecting him and keeping a clean pocket. And first half, I didn't do a good enough job of that. And, yeah, but thank God he's a warrior.
So I think this is great. I mean, obviously the guys know Jalen is a tough dude. AJ, of course, being as close with Hurts as he is, he's not surprised that Jalen is out there battling through the pain, but I thought what was really cool here is what Mailata said, because you can tell that he's holding himself accountable, as he knows that it's his job to keep Hurts protected, and with him playing hurt, that's a little extra motivation for Mailata and really all Jalen's teammates to do their job better, and Jalen was actually asked about this after the game, and this is what he said.
Your teammates have talked before about
the boost it gives them to watch you play through something. Do you sense that? Do you feel that from them?
Well, I don't like it being that way. I don't like it being that way. I love to be all good, and but as I said, man, I do anything for this city and for my teammates, and it takes what it takes, and that's simply put, whatever it takes. And I'm just happy that we were able to gut out this win, and we showed so much resilience.
You gotta love Hurts' mentality, man. I mean, like he said, whatever it takes to get the job done, and he certainly lived that out in this game against Dallas. So after that touchdown pass that Hurts threw to Smitty, the defense then responded, forcing a Dallas punt on their first drive of the second half and giving Hurts and the offense the ball back, where they got some nice steady gains with a third down brotherly shove that had the Dallas Cowboys radio announcers crying, calling for the play to be banned and saying, "This isn't even football," even though we all know that they're just upset that the Cowboys can't stop it.
This is not football.
The Eagles then continued to move down the field before breaking a big gain to Dallas Goedert on a great RPO design play where Goedert caught it short and then ran it for a pickup of 28. The unfortunate thing on this play, though, is that on the tackle, Goedert's arm got wrapped up weird and he then went down with an apparent injury and he left the game and did not return. And then on Monday, it was revealed that Goedert did in fact suffer a forearm fracture and he's now expected to be out the next 4 weeks. Now, the good news is it's not more serious than that and he should be back by probably the next Dallas game based on that week 4 timeline. I'll just be curious to see if they decide to put him on IR or not. Either way, let's just pray for a speedy recovery for Dallas Goedert because we're going to need him by the end of the season and especially once the playoffs roll around. Now, at least a positive did come out of that drive with the Eagles capping it off with a nice Hurts touchdown pass to A.J. Brown from 4 yards out, allowing Brown and Smitty to recreate the iconic LeBron D. Wade photo and putting the Eagles up 2 scores as they now had a 28-17 lead with just over a minute to go in the third quarter. Now, it looked like the Cowboys were about to respond on the next drive as they got all the way down inside the 10 before Dak tried to scramble into the end zone on a 3rd and goal, and he got absolutely lit up by Darius and Zach Cunningham that not only created a very funny image, but also it forced a 4th and goal, in which Sean Desai dialed up a timely blitz to force Prescott to throw his first progression early, and he hit tight end Luke Schoonmaker for what looked like a touchdown, but after review, it was clear that Reed Blankenship helped to bring him down just short of the goal line, making this overall an incredible goal line stand by the Eagles and keeping it a 28-17 game early in the 4th quarter. Unfortunately, the Eagles then couldn't get a first down on their next drive, giving the ball right back to Dallas in good field position, in which the defense actually started the drive off nicely with yet again Zach Cunningham making a play and also Kevin Byard as they both leveled Tony Pollard on a screen for a loss, but then Dak led the Cowboys straight down the field and capped off the drive with a touchdown pass to Jalen Tolbert to make it a 28-23 game, and then came a crucial 2-point conversion which gave the Cowboys a chance to make it just a 3-point game, so Dak Prescott scrambled to his right and dove for the end zone, and it actually looked like he got it at first, but after replay, it turns out that Dak yet again in a big moment couldn't quite come through as he clearly stepped out of bounds, making him just short of converting and keeping it a 1-touchdown game. So now this was a golden opportunity for the Eagles to go down the field, score, and essentially ice the game. Sadly, they couldn't get anything going once again, going 3 and out and giving the ball right back to Dak Prescott with the chance to take the lead. But this is where one of the all-time greats for the Philadelphia Eagles turned back the clock and came up clutch, as Brandon Graham came bursting through for the sack on Prescott on a 1st and 10 to stall the Cowboys' momentum on the drive, and then he did it again, this time combining with Jalen Carter for the sack on the very next play to make it a 3rd and 21, and the Cowboys weren't able to quite overcome that as on a 4th and 8, James Bradberry locked up Jalen Tolbert and forced the incompletion, giving the Eagles the ball back with just over a minute left, where with 1 first down, they would essentially end the game. Sadly, the Eagles offense failed to get anything going once again after they dodged another bullet with DeAndre Swift fumbling his 2nd time on an execution error after bumping into A.J. Brown on 3rd down. Luckily, Tyler Steen was able to recover and they were able to punt it back to Dallas, where they were then able to get one final opportunity, and the game now rested in the Eagles defense's hands. And it felt like this final drive was one of the craziest things I've seen in football in a long time. As with the Cowboys backed up on their own 14-yard line with no timeouts and just 46 seconds to work with, they went to work and they got a big gain on the first play, going deep to Michael Gallup, who didn't catch it, but he drew a pass interference call on James Bradberry, who also went down with an injury on the play. And then on the next play, the Cowboys got 10 yards on a catch by Jake Ferguson, and then 15 more got tacked on because of a roughing the passer call against Haason Reddick. Not to mention, Darius also got hurt on the play. So just like that, the Cowboys are already on the Eagles' 25-yard line, and they're down their top 2 corners. And then a couple plays later, the Cowboys find themselves on the Eagles' 6-yard line with 27 seconds left, and at this point, I think a lot of people, kinda including myself, I must admit, thought the Eagles were about to blow this game. But that's before Josh Sweat made the play of the game, in my opinion, getting a clutch sack on Dak Prescott, backing up the Cowboys 11 yards, and eventually leading to the Cowboys being in a situation where they had only 5 seconds to score a 27-yard touchdown, and on this play, Dak Prescott threw it short of the goal line to CeeDee Lamb, and the Eagles made the tackle with about 4 defenders swarming to the ball, and Lamb actually fumbled, and Reed Blankenship recovered it. So with that, the Eagles got to win, and they moved to 8-1 ahead of their bye week, and that also made them the first team since the 05-06 Colts to start back-to-back seasons with a record of 8-1, and just the 4th team in the last 30 years to do that. And all those other 3 teams that did that went on to win the Super Bowl that year, so this could be a good sign for the destiny of this Eagles team. But aside from that, just what a game, what a win by the Philadelphia Eagles, and what a stand there at the end by Josh Sweat in the defense. I mean, without that play from Sweat, I highly doubt that the Eagles win this game, so his teammate Jordan Mailata made sure to give him his credit after the game.
No surprise, to be honest. No surprise. Sweaty doesn't get acknowledged enough. He doesn't get talked about enough. Hopefully after this game they can start talking about him and putting him up there with the Mike Haasons and the Myers Garrett. You know, that guy's premier edge rusher. And I think tonight, I've been waiting for him to show out in big moments because I've seen it over the years. We've been together for 6 years and he showed out tonight.
So if that wasn't enough praise for Mailata, Nick Sirianni also praised him after the game, despite Sweat making him a little bit nervous with his celebration.
How big was Josh's sack, and I guess what are the emotions like?
Man, it was huge, but man, he started to celebrate. Like, good thing his celebration's quick. Like, man, I'm like, get back out there, you know. But huge play, huge play, and that's what you expect. That's what really good players do in crunch. In crunch moments, is make plays like that, and he made an enormous play in a huge moment, and Josh Sweat just continues to have a really impressive year.
I honestly think at this point, Josh Sweat is really underrated. He's definitely one of the best edge rushers in this league, and he needs to start being talked about like one. But again, just going back to the game, what a way to pull out this victory in a playoff-type atmosphere. I mean, getting this win was just so crucial, because the Birds now go up 2.5 games in the division, and they head into this bye week, which is sorely needed, because the Birds are super banged up right now. Here's a big list of all the players that went down with injuries at some point in the game, so hopefully they're able to use this bye week to get healthy ahead of a huge test in the Kansas City Chiefs. Jalen Hurts after the game said that the bye week couldn't have come at a better time for him specifically, so hopefully he can recover and his knee is much better by the time the Birds head to Arrowhead. And speaking of that matchup with the Chiefs that is now 2 weeks away, the Birds' mindset certainly isn't changing heading into it. I mean, after the game, Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, and the team all echoed that they have yet to play their best football, and there are still things that they have to clean up, but again, they'll continue to grow and get better, as they have been doing all season. And let's not forget, they've found ways to win these games despite dealing with issues, and they've beaten some pretty good football teams up to this point, and they got another one coming up in the Kansas City Chiefs after this bye week. So what is the Birds' mentality heading into the bye week ahead of their Super Bowl rematch? Well, Nick Sirianni summed it up perfectly after the game.
There's always room for improvement, and we'll continue to work on things, the details, the ball security, the ability to take the football away. You know, that's something we're going to continue to work on. What Bill Parcells say, you are what your record says you are. So we're in a good spot right now, and we're going to enjoy this bye week at 8-1, and we're going to get ready for the Kansas City Chiefs, and just continue to try to bust our butts to get better each day. When you're truly in that mindset and you're willing to get better each day, no matter how you feel, that's got to be the mindset. I'm tired today. Oh, we're 8-1 today. Oh, we're 2-8 today. Whatever the heck it is. You have to be in a mind. It's a mental challenge, and you have to be mentally tough to say, I'm going to get better today, and I'm going to treat today the same way I treated the other day, regardless of how I feel today. That's our mission, and that's our goal. And our goal, I know there are going to be a lot of chatter about this and that. Now they got this lead and they have the best record in NFC. We don't care about any of that. All we care about is how we get better to win our next game, how we rest our bodies this week, how we go 1-0 each day the following week to try to go 1-0 against the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's our mission, because there's this huge mountain to climb. But you can't climb the mountain all in 1 week. And when you look up that mountain and you start to just look up at how much more you got to climb, that's what makes you slip. when you do that. And so your steps have to be, your head has to be down, your focus has to be on the mountain, your focus has to be on your next step, and that'll be our next practice. And this week, rest in our bodies.
I mean, he really could not have put it more perfectly than that. I have nothing more to add. And overall, just what a win by the Eagles, and hopefully they can continue to grow and climb and win games in the second half of the season after they get through this bye. Now, if you don't want to miss any more Eagles coverage coming throughout this bye or leading into the matchup with Kansas City or just throughout the rest of the season, make sure you go down right now, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Also, drop a like on this video if you do want to show some support, and leave a comment down below just regarding anything I talked about in this video. What did you think of the Eagles win over Dallas, and what do you think of where they are heading into the bye week, sitting at 8-1? And also, if you want to watch another Eagles video, go check this one out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.